Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick, and today guys we're jumping down into the world of Vechain, taking a look at the price action, what's been going on and what I would expect to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Now, if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not go ahead and check that out today. And also in the description down below you will find a link to our new Cheeky podcast. Why not check that out as well? Easy listening and keeping you well informed with everything that's happening here in the crypto space. And you know, it's a fantastic easy listen on your daily commute to the office, so why not check that one out. Okay guys, let's waste no more time though. Let's just jump into some technical analysis here on Vechain, right? So we have VET paired up with USDT. We're on the hourly chart and Binance is the data source. So just to kind of briefly recap where we were, and I'm going to show you several different things here in this video, you know, some concerns and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, let's just do a brief recap, right? So we have a 5-3-5 structure. Okay, now this 5-3-5 is shorter than expected. Normally you'd expect a 1-to-1 ratio on an ABC like this. However, if I actually find this low, it's just up here. Let me just grab that low point just there. Okay, you can see here that we actually come up just a little bit north of the 702 and a little bit short of the 786 and a little bit off that you know, 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, so we know that we have obviously fallen a little bit short, but we did hit our technical target for our fifth wave, right? So we have 5 waves up here, we had 3 waves down and 5 waves up. Now if we measure the distance of our fourth wave, so from the high point to the low point, you can see that we come in just above that 1.236. That's one of the minimum requirements for a fifth wave. And as soon as we hit this, we started to see an instantaneous reversal to the downside. Now, all of this marks a macro fourth wave. The question that I have is the fourth wave now complete after this zigzag pattern is done, or are we actually expecting a little bit more volatility? Typically speaking, you know, wave 4s are generally complex, specifically if wave 2 is simple. And if wave 2 is simple, then wave 4 would be complex. So when we actually start to take a look at our wave 2, it is incredibly simple. Therefore, we should be expecting some kind of complex wave 4. So knowing this and knowing that we have a zigzag is relatively complicated in itself, you know, we could be starting to see our descent down. Now, if we take the measurement of our zigzag from the origin of the low of our wave 3 up to the high of wave 4, so basically the 5-3-5 structure here, then of course that gives us our lower end targets, right? So this basically comes in at 1.676 cent to a higher range of about 1.871 cent. So essentially what you have is this low range here, basically marking the end of our fifth wave, and the fifth wave of a macro move. So if I actually go ahead and just delete that because we don't need that and just zoom out, let me actually jump up into a 4-hour here. It might make it a little bit easier. Here you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and our fifth wave coming down into that low range. Essentially it's a 5-3-5-3-5 structure. Invalidation of this fifth wave down was actually set way up here at 2.952. okay, so basically 2.952 cent. Okay, so that dashed line at the top. Now essentially we haven't come anywhere near that, and the surge upwards is very unlikely. Actually, sorry, I have the wrong one. It's actually this one here. It's 2.809. Apologies there. So 2.809 is our low point, and essentially that is where we're looking, right? If we were to push up higher than there, then eventually that would actually effectively invalidate our low points on Vechain. Now, when we zoom up even further, we can see that all of this is just corrective, and then we pull back down again in a more corrective kind of pattern. Now, the issues that you've got here is this is a giant 3-3-5 structure, right? And if I take the measurement from this low point to this high point up here, okay, and then we transpose this over to the high point, just there, we can see that we could come down to 1.5. So coming down to these ranges are actually well within the realms of what is possible from a 3-wave structure that is a 3-3-5. And I mean, we could argue that maybe loosely that's a 5-3-5 structure, but I don't think that's really the case. So essentially what we've kind of got here is we're looking at completing the fifth wave of a 3-3-5, right? And inside that fifth wave, there are a 5-wave drop. Okay, so therefore it becomes eventually, you know, right down at the bottom here, you're a fifth wave of a fifth wave of a third wave on a macro scale, right from the up here in March of 2020, which if I come up into an 8-hour chart, you can see is a part of a much bigger correction, which is basically just an ABC structure. So you have a 3-wave drop here inside of our C wave, right? So if I just recap that again, you would effectively be, when you're down at the bottom here at 1.6 cent, the 5th wave of a 5th wave of a 3rd wave of a 3rd wave, right? And basically this then tracks us all the way from November 2021. And again, from there, you could then argue that we were actually correcting all the way from April 2021, and this would make a giant correction, right? So we actually have overextended on this one. So if I take this low point and I take this high point, okay, and we'll grab that, move that over to this bounce here, you can see that actually what we're doing is we're testing the 1.382 area of a much bigger 3-wave drop, right? So, you know, we can start to scale this out, and we can start to see that actually there's a high probability that when we're down here at 93% from the previous all-time high, that there's a huge opportunity to accumulate not only discounted Vechain, but a huge chance for reversal, because we're at the pretty much the overextended bottom of a really deep correction that started way back in early 2021. So when we take all of that into consideration, you know, we have some pretty good promises here, right? So when I jump this back down into our hourly chart and we bring this back up, I do want to kind of say that there's a high chance that we do look to drop down. However, I do also want to illustrate that we could be on the cusp of reversal, okay, and that this here, this low point, could have been our bottom at 2 cent. Now, this is not necessarily what I'm thinking. I do think that we have a higher chance of decline, but if things change here and we start to see, you know, structural moves upwards, specifically going higher than 2.811, so 2.811 cent, then essentially I think, yeah, that invalidates our 5th wave lows, and we've already had the bottom and we look to move up. Okay, so we want to keep a close eye on that. Now, if I come into this, right, and we can see this pattern here, bring the stochastic RSI up, you can see that we're overbought on our hourly chart. So looking for a reversal around here, looking to complete wave 1. If I come up into our 4-hourly, we're looking to basically move up with our 4-hour chart, and probably into a wave 2. Wave 2 cannot cross higher than wave 1 low, right? So the origin here, this wave 5 high that we had, wave 2 cannot cross that, okay? So we should be cautious about that, okay? On the 8-hour, we're almost oversold, meaning that that second wave push to the upside could actually move our 8-hour stochastic back up into the overbought area, or alternatively we just stay into this oversold area for a period of time. The daily chart, however, does indicate this move to the downside. Okay, so the move to the downside is highly likely. We're not necessarily likely to have what I'm going to show you next, which is that bullish sentiment, that bullish run to the upside. Now, it's possible, and so I'm going to show you that it's a possible scenario, but based on our daily stochastic RSI and the momentum behind the price, the only real kind of momentum that would allow for it is going to be that 8-hour stochastic RSI, maybe the 4-hour, but the daily isn't really in a good spot for the kind of surge that would be required here. But that being said, you know, this is what leads me to those lows, those 1.6 to 1.8 cent lows. But let's jump on into this, right? And I'll show you what I'm thinking. So maybe remove the low point here. Okay, so we have our 5-3-5 structure. Okay, this 5-wave structure, as I said, right, is lower than our expectations. It was much lower than the 1-to-1 ratio. So if I grab this measurement from our 5-wave move here, right, and we move this over to our low point just over this side, and you can see, as I said, right, we came in here a little bit higher than the 702 but shorter than the 786. The 1-to-1 ratio being 2.837, higher than our 2.811, basically invalidating our low points on the structure moves. Okay, so knowing this, we should then consider that maybe there's a bullish kind of sentiment here going on with an overextended 3rd wave. Now, this is obviously, it has a chance to do this, but it's not really probable. Okay, so I'll show you what this looks like, but it will be invalidated if we drop down lower than this low point. So confirmation that this is not possible comes in at anything lower than 2.003 cent. Okay, so if we drop down lower than that, it isn't happening. Okay, but until that happens, we should acknowledge, you know, what this potentially might look like. So what I've got here is a 3-wave drop to the downside potentially, right? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this could basically be a wave 1. Okay, so a wave 1 here up, a wave 2 down, and then a wave 3. A wave 3 would have to, in my opinion, for this overextension to really be valid, come into a 1.618, which would put us at 3.268 cent. Then a fourth wave down, and then a third wave up, fifth wave up, right? So then you end up with this overextended third wave with a 5-wave structure with a 5-wave move here. I would also expect to see a 5-wave structural move in here, and I would expect to see a 5-wave structural move in there as well. Okay, so we have 5 waves up in wave 1. We moved down in 3 waves. We then had a 5-wave move up in wave 1, okay, of wave 3. Wave 2 down, a 3-wave move. A 5-wave move up, a 3-wave wave down, and then a 5-wave move up. Now, this would essentially be that from our bottom of 2.003 as a wave 1, so I'd put that there, a wave 2 would come down, a wave 3 would be overextended, and then we'd have a 4th wave correction and then a final 5th wave up. Okay, so this structure, something that I spoke about on the Bitcoin video, something I spoke about on the Ethereum video, this is a structure that is our journey out of here. This is a reversal-based structure. There's a lot of things going on here. There's lots of noise. Let me just remove some of these sub-counts that are relevant to understanding that. But essentially, our 535, our zigzag, could turn into this impulsive structure out, meaning that 2.003 was the bottom here for Vechain. I think there's a low probability that this will play out, okay, but it is a possibility. So I thought I should probably mention that there is something that is out there, technically speaking, that could play out. And what we're really looking for is invalidation of this, right? So invalidation comes in at 2.003. It would prevent this from happening. However, a move up above 2.811, okay, which is this line just here, essentially might actually confirm such a move. It might actually be that we are tracking up. There is one alternative to this, and that is if we do not hit this 1.618, or even if we don't hit any of these, right? If we don't hit 1.236 to 1.618, there is an incredibly low chance that this is ever going to happen. But we could also be looking at a C wave in our ABC structure, our zigzag, that is actually has a zigzag in it. So that's also a possibility. But I don't think that's necessarily probable. So one of the things that we're really looking out for, guys, is to see whether or not we are structurally moving down. Okay, and for that, we are looking for staying below 2.672, okay, so the top of this wave here. Let me actually clean some of this up, right? I'm just going to remove some of this because it is, you know, a bit noisy now. So if I zoom in on this, right, this top of this 5th wave here, we should not cross that, okay? If our move to the downside is to be valid, we should stay below 2.672. If we move above 2.811, that would invalidate a 5th wave altogether. Okay, so we can still move above 2.672 and it can still be a 4th wave correction. But if this 4th wave crosses 2.811, then essentially, yeah, there is no 4th wave, there is no 5th wave down. There's something else going on here, okay, and I would update accordingly. But if we can stay below 6.272, then essentially what we might be looking at here is a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5 down, okay? So do expect some volatility with Vechain. There's a lot of kind of noise going on in the space. Hopefully you guys followed that. I know there's a lot of stuff going on here. It's actually a reasonably complicated time in the crypto space. There's lots of potential moves in either direction. And what we're trying to do here is ascertain what is most probable based on what would create invalidations. So we're watching out for 2 things on Vechain. We are essentially looking out for decline. Okay, so we're looking to come back down. Okay, if I grab hold of this, what I'm looking for is specifically, if I can, yeah, grab that. No, over here. Why is that not moving? Let me grab this. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so if I pull that down here, so we're looking to ideally confirm our downward move by dropping down lower than 2.255. Okay, that would also invalidate any potential move to the upside. Okay, at least within that structure. We can move up in different structures, but this particular structure here, once we drop down lower than 2.255, essentially that means, yeah, that stuff up on the other upper side there cannot happen. Confirmation of the true move to the upside would be invalidated at 2.003, but for now what we're looking for is we're looking for confirmation of the move down. For the confirmation of the move down, 2.255. If, however, we breach, as I said, 2.672, then an upward directional move is likely, and of course a 2.811 would invalidate our lows. So essentially what we're waiting for here is confirmation from Vechain's price action, and taking a close look at that momentum indicator as to see what is likely to go on. We still could have a leading diagonal to start and kickstart our move to the downside, but essentially what we're really waiting for is to see what the price does. Does it stay below 2.672, and can it drop down lower than 2.55? Anything above 2.811, we would have to redraw quite a bit, and obviously that changes the analysis, and again would also change a lot of the accumulation zones for our Patreon members. So guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found this brief update on Vechain useful and informative, hit the like button. You really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, join us in Discord if you have any questions, and we'll get back to you on those in there as well. Guys, with all that said, done, out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.